All right, back to it now. Glad you're here for the conversation. Look, we've got so much going on. It's been the most intense news cycle of my professional career. That dates back a number of years, all right? Enough years that I can tell you that it's a significant situation, all right? And so many things are going on that aren't being paid attention to. Since the debate on June the 27th, now just over a month ago, and since that time, Donald Trump has been shot. Joe Biden has dropped out of the race. Kamala Harris has jumped in. And the whole time, the border czar, Kamala Harris, has done nothing to stem the flow. Of course, she doesn't want to admit she's the border czar now. Now she was just somebody, going to the Golden Triangle or something. Todd Bensman is a senior national security fellow for the Center for Immigration Studies, the author of Overrun, How Joe Biden Unleashed the Greatest Border Crisis in U.S. History. He's back with me. Todd, nice to see you.
Great to be here. Thank you.
So, is she the border czar, yes or no?
She's absolutely the border czar. She can't cut her tie with the administration's central signature policy, which is root causes. They're going to address root causes. There's a press conference. I've got links to it in a big piece I wrote for the Federalist, to the press conference where he named her, where she eagerly, willingly accepted the title, where she then held press conferences for the next couple of years about how great she did under her personal leadership in getting American companies to go down to Central America and set up shop. Root causes, by the way, the doctrine holds that you nation build your way out of factors that cause out migration, right? So you rebuild Guatemala, rebuild El Salvador, and rebuild Honduras. Those were the big sending countries at the time. And she embraced it. I don't know why anybody's arguing about this. If you want to call her the root causes queen or the czarina.
Whatever you want to call her. Look, let me ask you something about something you said there, Todd. As I want to know, has there been a change out of the nation of El Salvador? Since Bukele went in and arrested, 80,000 gang members, just a brutal crackdown on crime. And he has changed El Salvador dramatically. He has. So I want to ask, has that made any difference with the people exiting that country?
I mean, the main thing is that the people who are exiting El Salvador aren't MS-13 because they're all in prison.
Right.
So that's a great thing for us. But the truth is that since she became the, czarina or whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter what you call her. Since she became the head of the government's central strategy to shut down the immigration from those countries, 2 million more came in from those same countries. In other words, it was a total failure. It never worked. Root causes doesn't work as a doctrine, and we know this because we stole it from the European liberals who have been using it for 40 years.
And how's that worked out for them? I've seen the streets of Paris. I've seen the streets of London. I've seen attacks in Germany. Not working out terribly well there, is it?
Right. I mean, you and I can see it with our own eyes, but European academia have been doing studies, formal studies for 2 decades now, and their own studies show that it fails over and over. And I have links to those in my Federalist piece about.
Well, sure. And you've seen this explosion, this attack on little girls that happened in the UK 3-4 days ago. 3 girls murdered, 6, 7, and 9 years of age. Another half dozen remain hospitalized, some in critical condition after a stabbing attack. And the people there erupted in the streets. They've had all the migrant crime they can take. They've erupted in the streets. They're mad as hell because this keeps happening. And it's not just in the UK. It's in France and Germany and elsewhere. And people are rejecting it en masse now. But I'm also concerned about that. So I want to ask about something else that just happened, and that's the elections of Venezuela. Clearly a BS outcome in Venezuela. Maduro hangs on. Nicolas Maduro remains in charge, at least for today. But that is a warning that we could see another mass flush of people from Venezuela trying to make their way to the United States, right?
Yeah, man, I hope not. Listen, already 7 million Venezuelans have left Venezuela. for 15 other countries. They've been perfectly fine in these other countries for years, 8, 9, 10 years even. Since 2015, 2017, they've been down there perfectly fine and did not rush our border. Were waiting for a change in their own country, and maybe they'd go back and maybe not. They were doing fine. But then the Biden administration literally started accepting all Venezuelans who hit the border. So, of course, they unmoored themselves from these places and did an upgrade, a lifestyle upgrade. And we've just had millions come into the U.S. already. If Harris were to win, obviously, in November, she would definitely keep that border wide open for these new hundreds of thousands and millions of Venezuelans coming through. Donald Trump, of course, would completely close it and push them all back to Mexico, in which case they'll just stay in place. They'll shelter in place until Trump's out of there. And that's how it works. If you let them in, they come. If you kick them back into Mexico or deport them, they won't come because nobody wants to spend
But they wait for the next opportunity, is what you said there, Todd.
Yes.
They'll park themselves in Mexico, at least a lot of them will, and just wait for the next opening in the border or the next administration to open the door, and boom, they'll come in. What is the number? I mean, we debate this back and forth a lot, but what is the number of people that have come into this country illegally since Joe Biden took over in January of 21?
As best we can figure, it's about 10 million people have hit the border. Most of them have been allowed into the country to stay. So there's probably on the order of, 7 million, 8 million that we know of that actually are in the country to stay. And remember, it's not just those who crossed illegally. The administration created these, what they call lawful pathways. CBP-1, it's a phone app. That's let in 500,000 at the land ports from 100 different countries, and another 500,000 have been allowed to fly directly into the country by air. That you can't even see this. So there's a million right there, and there are the gotaways, 2 million people that have just gotten through, and we never caught them. We just let them through, and they're in. That sort of thing. And so really, literally, a city the size of Los Angeles and Chicago combined are in the country.
All right, Todd, I want you to hold that thought right there because I want to talk about the impact these people have on this country. Do they vote? The criminal activity that the left says, well, they commit crimes at a lower rate than people born here. I don't know if that's true because I don't know if they give you honest numbers about any of this because they also claim that crime is down when it's not, but we'll keep an eye on that. Todd, hold on. Todd Bensman will be right back with us. First, I want to tell you about this. The team at Hillsdale College has a brand new portrayal of Thomas Jefferson, a great video that you can watch today at Gruber4Hillsdale.com. It's a great movie, tells you about America. Since its founding in 1844, Hillsdale's remained true to its mission of offering the kind of education needed to preserve the blessings of liberty that can be traced to the principles of the Declaration of Independence, signed July 4, 1776. Go to Gruber4Hillsdale.com today, and by the way, you can get a complimentary free copy of the Declaration of Independence, written by Thomas Jefferson, of course, from my friends at Hillsdale. Gruber4Hillsdale.com. I'll be right back.